Now, if this is the current situation in the world, the paradox is that the United Nations system, which was built after the Second World War, is unable to grapple with the increasing conflicts which are emerging in the world. And why is that? Because the United Nations system was developed to deal with interstate conflicts and does not necessarily have the mandate to deal with internal conflicts. Now, I want to basically then just take up a few points, which I have to again use the graph, because I was going to use the benefit of the graph, the next one, just to share with you what are the kinds of concepts we are beginning to deal with in this process. Some people talk about conflict resolution. Some of us want to talk about conflict transformation. And I would suggest that the discourse of conflict resolution comes from a specific rationalist Western discourse, which has underlying within it certain epistemological assumptions. The assumptions of that discourse, the rationalistic discourse, is that conflicts are solvable, that conflicts are based on interests between two parties. And if the interests can be found out, then it could lead to a resolution. The rationalistic discourse assumes that conflicts can be settled in a round table. So most of the work done by Bill Urey and others is how to get the parties to say yes, getting to yes. The problem of that discourse is how to get a win-win solution. How can both parties see a gain in resolving the conflict? The assumption behind the rationalistic discourse is that people share common values, people have a common culture of equality, and that actors in the conflict process are identifiable. Then we got on to the next part of the discourse. If you talk about Buddhist and Taoist approaches to conflict, the difference in that approach is that they not talk about the end result of a conflict resolution, but talk about the conflict process. Therefore, this particular approach of transformation believes that it is asked the kind of question of when is it important to intervene in the process. When is it possible to shape that particular process of a conflict process? When do actors actually come in? So the two approaches in stark form, one is the linear approach, and the other, of course, is the process approach. And therefore, one of the challenges for general conflict theory is how can we develop an approach which can combine both a linear approach but also a process approach. How can we combine both into a common approach? The concepts below that are pretty clear to us. We have the three major concepts of the peace research tradition: structural violence, direct violence, and cultural violence.